important is sleep in this equation?
Pretty important.
Absolutely important.
Okay. It's
I'll
nice
second that.
going in sequence, yeah.
Kim might know a little bit more because she's more in tune with the brain. But what we learn about the brain is the brain is so influential in everything that we do. And there's this term called neuroplasticity, and sleep is such an important factor for that. Neuroplasticity is building that connections within the brain so that you learn new tasks, something that's unfamiliar to you. And having a good diet, well, actually, number one would be your physical capacity, making sure that you're having enough oxygen to your brain to ensure that your brain is on the ball, and then making sure that your diet is essential. It feeds your brain. So, and those two things are such important, and sleep is one of them as well. It's people don't realize that sleep is influential for the brain's function, because your brain needs time to ensure that it's running at top efficiency levels.
Well, sleep is probably the key strategy to keeping it working well. The brain actually works harder when you're asleep than when you're awake, which is a surprise to a lot of people because it looks like you're unconscious of the world. So what on earth is your brain doing? Your brain is doing a lot. It's doing a lot of housekeeping to start with. And Dr. Matthew Walker, one of the top sleep researchers in the world, he's postulated that basically just being awake gives you a mild form of brain damage, which sleep fixes. Not quite in those words, but that's the idea behind it, which is why sleep is so important. And then again, if you look at the Chinese meridian therapy type thing, they have the idea that at certain times of the day, certain organs go into repair state, right? And if you're not resting at that time, you kind of miss out on what's like getting your carburetor flushed or something like that, or whatever is equivalent in the brain, right? That sort of thing. And the curious thing also is nature doesn't really do things willy-nilly. So sleep must be pretty important if she's programmed it into pretty much every living being. Every living being sleeps. And even though it makes us hugely vulnerable when we were hunter-gatherers, I mean, we could be set upon by some wild beast deciding to have us for a snack, it's made it very important that we need to sleep. The timing is key, actually. So we sleep later, we miss out on certain phases.
What was the timing then? What's ideal sleep timing?
Start about 9 to 10 o'clock and waking at about 6.
7.
Basically, the thing is, it's also tied into the cycles of day and night. So depending on where you live, you want to be up pretty much as the sun rises and to sleep as the sun shortly after sunset. But consistency is key.
And for sleep, there's also a routine for sleep. It's not actually, if you go to bed at 8 and you wake up at 4, that's your sleep. It's actually not. You actually go into deep sleep at about 10 o'clock. If you go to bed at 8 without your phone, you've done your phone use, you've done everything, then the efficiency of sleep is from 10 to probably about 4 o'clock. That's when you have the best sleep. And then you'll be out of that REM sleep after, creating a routine, which is such an essential part of sleep even.
Yeah, I think it's almost like as you age, do you have a fun timetable for yourself on all these different activities? Not that you want to follow it strictly and be rigid, but it's just a framework. And for some of the seniors whom we see are doing quite well in their rest times, I think they have a sleep routine that starts at about 9:30 or 10, and they try to sleep by 11, get about 7 to 8 hours of sleep. The other habits that they have is also drinking enough water, waking up early to head for some exercises or to start on their daily routine. They typically the sleep patterns are quite early for those who are aging well and looking good. So if you want to look young as you grow older, then that's a great motivation that you get enough sleep and early enough sleep. So some people say, as I age, I cannot sleep because it's challenging. Then yes, sometimes health-wise, some people really can't sleep, and it's very stressful for them to try to sleep early. But for the majority of the population, I believe that if you turn off your gadgets, stop watching Netflix and YouTube and TikTok when you are in bed, and read a book instead, you might find it easier to fall asleep. And when you wake up in the morning, you can watch your TikTok instead. So change your TikTok hours to early in the morning instead of late at night, because we all get into that addiction. Once you start watching a video, you can't stop. And then your mind can't take your hands off the phone.